Hey everybody, this is Ori from AstroWeb, and I'm going to introduce the HTTPS site transfer checklist document for any websites that want to transfer their entire site from HTTP to HTTPS. So before we start on the specific checklist, I want to introduce why would we actually want to do such a thing. So in general, there's a few reasons, but the most popular ones are, number one is you would like to have a consistent URL. You don't want to have both HTTP and HTTPS version. So there'll just be one. If a customer or a browser goes from HTTP or HTTPS, they'll always be on HTTPS. Second one is security. So avoiding man-in-the-middle attacks. Just having a consistent communication between the server, the business, the website, and the customer, the browser, right? So you know that when a customer comes to your website, they for sure get what you intended for them to get, right? So another one for privacy is customers, when they come to your website, no one listening on the line or on the internet connection can know which pages on that site were visited, okay? Next one is search engine optimization. So search engines, Google, for example, they recommend to have all HTTPS sites, right? So they're kind of pushing this for a few years now, and they say it is one of the ranking factors in SEO. Okay, so those are the main reasons why you want to transfer. So let's go over the list to kind of figure out what's going on. Okay, so first of all, once you want to transfer, you need to go over the general area, which is you need to make a plan, right? So you have to look at this checklist, you have to have a timeline, you have to come up with a plan and guarantee resources to be available, server people, project managers, QA, etc., developers. You want to get a certificate, so you want to either buy a regular certificate, a wildcard, or you use something like Let's Encrypt, right, which we use on a lot of projects. And if you do use Let's Encrypt, you need to ensure that you're monitoring when it expires, you're monitoring that it auto-renews itself, and if it's not Let's Encrypt, you need to make sure you have a Google Calendar or some kind of alert to make sure you renew on time, okay? So you get the SSL certificate, and then you ensure that you have all of your people, and you also create a domain name for testing, right? For your testing sites, you want to make sure that you have either the same domain name and use some kind of host file, or you have a subdomain. If you have a wildcard, for example, for a wildcard, that you can actually test very well, so you can use the same certificate. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to follow the same steps for development, for staging sites, and for production, and it's really, really simple. First, you're going to make a backup of your files. Anytime you do any changes, you want to back up your files, your database. You want to install the SSL certificate on your server, configure it in your web server configuration file, Nginx, Apache. And in the actual web server configuration, you want to force the redirect from HTTP to HTTPS, but make sure that you force all URLs, all pages, not just the home page, right? So you want to do kind of a wildcard or automated redirect of all pages on HTTP to HTTPS. You want then to go to your platform, if it's Magento or WordPress, go to the backend and change all of the relevant URLs to HTTPS://. Okay. Then you want a developer to go scan your code, all of your code base, your main platform directory, and scan to see if there's any references for HTTP://. If there are, you need to discuss with your technical PM what can be changed, what cannot, what is relevant, what is not. Okay. Once you do that, you make the changes, you update Git because you're changing code, and you're gonna start testing, right? Then you go to your database and you check for the same thing, where are the references for HTTP://, if any. If so, you consult with technical PM, you change it to HTTPS://. And then once you do these things, you start testing like crazy, right? So you're going to QA, they're going over making sure that pages are actually redirecting from HTTP to HTTPS, and then just testing the site functionality for anything broken. Filling out forms, registering, buying, browsing, using the search engine, etc., etc. You're going to go over the entire site from scratch. And then Once it's approved and everything's okay, you're going to do the same thing for the staging site. You're going to test again, and then for production site. And if you're good, yeah, everything is live, everything is ready to go. In addition to those, there's a few other considerations that may or may not apply to your project or to all projects. And here are some of the kind of popular ones, right? So first of all, once you set it live, you want to put an annotation in Google Analytics to say, I changed the site at this date, so you can track before and after there's any bugs or performance issues or better or worse rankings in SEO. You want to just put like track a tag of here's when I changed it. I want to look before and after. You want to make sure that you go to Google Search Console, you register an HTTPS version, you keep the HTTP version, and then you keep the HTTPS version, and then you compare index pages over time. So the HTTP should be going down, HTTPS should be going up, but you're monitoring the health of both sites at the same time. Then you're going to go and visit in your browser the web pages. It's PM and QA, and you're going to check for mixed content. Is the padlock saying secure, or is there a mixed content issue? You can also use a tool like this, Why No Padlock, put in your URL, and it'll tell you if there's mixed content. So mixed content is basically the website is HTTPS, the URL is HTTPS, but some of the resources, maybe some of the images or some of the JavaScript are not HTTPS. So then you need to fix that, right? So that means we didn't change the code or the database correctly. If you have a CDN, another one. If you obviously have HTTPS, so you want to enable HTTP2 in most cases, right? HTTP2 can help with some speed optimization and just kind of for the future, is ready for future of new features and just future web. If you do have a CDN, make sure you update the settings of the CDN in your platform, plus make sure the CDN supports HTTPS, has a certificate, you pay whatever you need, it's configured correctly. Then part of the code itself, which is kind of relevant to above, make sure your canonical tags are updated correctly, your OG tags are updated correctly. You refresh your sitemap to reference HTTPS. If you have any URLs in your robots.txt, like sitemap : something, make sure it uses HTTPS. Enabling OCSP stapling, basically forcing browsers to visit HTTPS first instead of HTTP, so you kind of improve performance on redirects. Update your social counts, which we need to kind of get into that. So if you have, for example, Facebook likes on a certain page that was HTTP, and you have a counter, you have like a widget that shows the counts, now you're going to have 0 counts when you go to HTTPS, so you want to try to update it. I need to research this a little bit more, but this is one reference article, looks to be legit, or starting to. You want to update your uptime monitoring tools, making sure your uptime tools that are checking if the site is up use HTTPS. You want to check analytics over time, your organic traffic in Google Analytics over time. You want to check your rankings for SEO, make sure nothing broke, make sure you did everything well. And that's it. So hope this makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions. We'll be adding more to this if we find more things, and just use this as a checklist. Okay? Appreciate it.